Today, I am going to be telling you and teaching you how to plan an engagement party from start to finish. Things that helped me, tips that you might need, advice, things that I wish I had done, and overall just helping you get to your vision no matter what it is. So let's get started. I had my engagement party at the end of June, June 29th. It was a Sunday from 2 to 6 p.m. It was at a brewery with a far enough view of the ocean, but it was very breezy outdoors, beautiful weather. Immediately when my fiance and I were engaged, I knew that I wanted to have an engagement party. I knew that that's something, at least in the Filipino culture, that isn't normal, but it is something that is pretty Americanized. And whenever I had seen it, I always thought that it was really sweet and very nice as kind of like the kickoff to the wedding planning process. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what I had done, and please feel free to take any inspiration from that as well. Something that I always want every single one of my big parties at least to have is personality, specifically infused with my personality. And since this is an engagement party, my fiance's as well. Infusing it with your personality is what really is going to make it stand out. The first thing that I did was really narrow down the guest list. So for us, it was 30 to 50 people, though I knew that a lot of people were out of town, were living on the opposite side of the country, but I did want to make them feel included, at least send them an invitation followed up with a message saying there's no pressure on attending this. After knowing that you have, let's say, 30 to 40 guests or whatever your number is going to be, that is when you can start looking at venues. So for Keegan and I, we wanted it to be local. We wanted it to be not for engagement parties, that's not something that you need to fly out to the other side of the world for. It's just something really simple, casual, intimate. We didn't want it to be like a big dinner party where people had to get dressed up. It was just come as you are, be casual. So the types of venues that fit that for us were breweries. We were able to find a venue, and that venue had a beautiful outdoor area on a patio with views of the ocean. There was beer, there was seltzers, there were appetizers, there were main food that you can sell there. So breweries are a really good casual spot if you are getting people together, specifically if a lot of the age range is going to be 21 plus. And so for us, we wanted a lot of our friends, a lot of my cousins that were 21 plus, but we're also friendly to those that were underage and those who were over the age of like 40, 50 that maybe didn't drink as much. We wanted to find a venue that if people wanted to get extra food or other beers that maybe we didn't purchase beforehand, that they would have the ability to put it on their own card. As soon as we booked the venue, that is when I was able to confidently send out the invitations. You don't necessarily want to send out invitations before you have a place because you want the invitation to have all of the information for people to have. Now, invitations, we wanted it to keep it, again, casual. We didn't want to send paper invites or anything crazy like that, but we did need to get some kind of head count and a place to have all of the information on there that could be updated if needed. So my first instinct was to go to Canva and to create an invitation that I could just text people the picture of, and it would have all of the information on it, which I had done in the past. But there is a better way, especially if most of the people that are coming are a little tech savvy, and that is by using an app called Partiful. Partiful was so helpful, and I had used it previously for other celebrations that we had, whether it was intimate or big. It really does help keep guest count as well as the ability to update things as you go. Obviously, when you send out your first invitation, you don't want to have to keep updating things. You want to make sure you have all the information present. For Partiful, you can choose what kind of background, what kind of pictures that you want there, what title you want. It's very customizable and it's very like our generation friendly. I would go as far as to say that even people that are not very tech savvy, all they really have to do is click the link to open it and scroll down, and that's it. They don't need to log in. They don't need to create an account. All that it does ask though is inputting your phone number so that you can stay up to date with things. So to each their own. You'll know your family and your friends a lot better, but Partiful was something that definitely helped me so much. Side note, we didn't have an engagement photo shoot, but when he proposed, he had a photographer there. So that really helped kind of give us certain content that we needed for this engagement party. It has here the date, the time, who it's hosted by, me and my fiance, where it was. We were also able to put in our dress code. Parking. Parking is such a big thing that I think people get overlooked, especially if you know you're going to a location that isn't really car friendly. Luckily, this area, there is a lot of parking, but I wanted to make sure for people that were handicapped and for just general knowledge of where this thing is at and how far you're going to need to walk in order to get there. That is super important. This area has blue text in it because if you click into it, that is going to show you the exact GPS locations of parking structures and everywhere else that you can park. These other ones here, we were able to edit it in. Links right here that you can just add. So if I wanted to add a registry or a playlist or a link, I can put it all there and it's just going to formulate up here. But the area below is where you pretty much can customize whatever other knowledge you need to have in here. So this is where I had as much information as possible. This last bullet point was so important for me because I did not want random plus ones coming, and I had told my cousins, I told my friends, my fiance had told his friends that we were really trying to keep this as intimate as possible, seeing that we already have at least 40 people that were looking to come. And so we didn't want to slowly start doubling that number and start saying like, oh, I don't know who this person is. I don't know who this person is. No, for your engagement party, invite whoever you want. And if you don't want plus ones, put it on there. Make sure that you are going to be celebrating with the people that you know and you love. Don't let anybody else guilt you otherwise. This last bullet point was very, I think, a friendly way and a friendly reminder that like, hey, we love you. We don't want to be meeting your boyfriend for the first time here. There's even an activities board where I believe you can activate or deactivate this. The ability to have photo albums. If you want people to add photos during the party, you definitely can direct them here as well. And the ability to hide or view the guest list from other people. Obviously, since you are the host, you will be able to see who is coming, and I actually loved the activity board. It was really fun. People could put in gifts. People can write down whatever they want. The last thing that I'll say about Partiful is since I knew that I was going to send it to families that have like upwards of 3, 4, 5 people per family, I did have the option to add +1, +2, +3, +4. Now, this is separate from telling people no plus ones. This is specifically that when I send it to the family members, they have the option of saying, okay, only 3 of us can go. So they'll add a +2 plus whoever's RSVPing, etc., etc. I really, really, really loved Partiful for that. And I was able to track exactly who was coming. And if I needed to update, let's say our venue changed, right? Whatever it was that I needed to update it, I knew that I can update it on there and then just send it once, and Partiful would be able to like essentially send a text blast to people. I did not end up doing any text blasts. I didn't want to annoy people with that. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you are doing things through Partiful is when you make your invitation, just try your best to put every single information on there at once so that you're not just bombarding people with updates as you go. Now, I'm listing this as number 4, but this is something that you work in tandem with number 2 and number 3. So while you're finding the venue or even before you send out invitations, something that really helped me was a vision board. Vision boards are so incredibly important for me, for anybody else who needs to conceptualize things and need to see it, so that you know if certain elements work the same. Now, not everybody needs this, but this is something that I think just adds that little bit of thoughtfulness and cohesiveness to anything that you are planning. So I did all of this in Canva. I can break it down for you guys separately, but I do have a video that I'll put somewhere up here that shows how you can make a very successful vision board that keeps you focused. Now, again, with this vision board, you can do this before anything else that I said, before the guest list, before the venue, before the invitations. This is something that you can work on in tandem with any of these things. And so for me, I knew that we were looking at a brewery of some sort. I knew that we wanted it to be a little bit casual, but a little bit thoughtful as well. Now, the vision board is not meant to be 100% accurate of what it is going to be, but it's just supposed to encompass kind of the vibe that we're bringing to whatever the engagement party is going to be. So we'll start on the top left area. We knew that we wanted some easels, like a big 24 by 36 picture. We wanted something that tied in the fact that we are at a brewery. So I loved this Love is Brewing. I actually took that and made personalized coasters that have me, something that represents me and Keegan. And you can see this with the silhouette right here. So for me, I love to pole dance. I actually have a pole in my other room. This was not the silhouette that we ended up using, okay? This is something like, this is a little bit too much. Once I sent that silhouette to my sister, she was like, remember, we're gonna have family. Like, you're not gonna use that. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, do you get the vision? Keegan loves to play soccer, so had a little bit of that in here as well. And this is kind of the vibe of the coaster that we were going for. Since we were going to be at a brewery, I knew that I wanted to do some kind of giveaway, something that wasn't over the top, but something that's just like, hey, thanks so much for coming, and here's a little treat. So we did coasters. That is the vibe we were going for, and this is kind of what I was able to doctor up on Canva. You could see Darlene and Keegan. The photo that I used there is way less crazy than the other one. So something that represents me, something that represents him, the date that's on there, and of course at the very bottom, if you could see it, it says love is brewing. This was definitely a cute little hit. Everybody had a little coaster with them during that party. And so having that vision board and having this really helped me say, okay, I'm looking for some kind of giveaway. Originally, I was looking at these engagements, and I always carry around some kind of mint or like breath refreshener around, but it just made more sense for us to have the coaster since we were at a brewery. The type of photos that I might want, like I didn't want a whole photo shoot, but I wanted things to feel casual and at least a few cute photos of me and Keegan. I even go as far as doing the detailed outfits. This is the exact dress that I wore. I saw this on Meshki and I immediately was like, I need that for my engagement party. Side note, the adventure to get that dress was crazy because it was sold out in every single size, and I kept going on their website, checking if it was still there. I signed up for their wait list to see when it was going to come back on. And finally, when we were like 2 weeks away from it, I was like, oh my God, if I can't get this now, I'm going to have to get another dress. So I checked on it again, and they had one small available. The last small size of this dress available, immediately bought it. I was like, oh my God, what the heck? Got it. And then I went back onto the webpage. Everything else sold out again. I don't know what it was, by the grace of God, by whatever universe, right? Like, it was just perfect, and I was so happy. It came on time. It was beautiful. This is the vibe that I wanted Keegan and I to have. This type of setup, again, something that this was like our National X marquee sign, and this one was our iconic like engagement photo shoot, which I'll show you guys in a separate video. The type of nails that I wanted, my nail tech ate. This is what my nails looked like, and this is what this was the inspiration photo that I showed him. Chef's kiss, amazing. At first I was like, maybe I'll do something like white and cute that's supposed to be engagement like, but as soon as I pop this nail into this vision board, I was like, I can't do white. I feel like this is like the perfect little pop of red that is needed. And I loved this area. It says, so we met at a bar. So we actually also had a cake. I'll put another photo of it right here. We just got it at like a random grocery store, and we asked if they can just sign it on top, and they were able to make it exactly like this. And that was our engagement cake. And my favorite part of the vision board is this part right here, the letters and the engagement book. Now, this book is from the Ceremony Club. I found them again on Pinterest. I just love how it's like a coffee table aesthetic kind of book that is very timeless, but it's not like out there saying, oh, look at me, look at our engagement, like all different kinds of colors. Like, no, this goes with every type of decoration that I have in my house right now. So this is where that level of thoughtfulness came in that I'm going to break down for you now and a little bit more later on. For our engagement photo shoot, I printed out our photos from that photo shoot, and I stuck all of them inside of this engagement photo book, and I brought it to the location. Maybe the first 10 pages was pretty much the story of him proposing to me. So it was us walking down the beach, and then all of a sudden it's him getting down on one knee, me crying. So it was a way to show people that weren't at the proposal what happened, the raw reactions of that, and it was just the perfect place to show people what happened during that day. After the first 10 pages, I started interspersing pictures along with blank areas. Now, why did I do that? Another thing that I have here that you could see on this area are letters. I really wanted to incorporate people's memories and people's thoughts and people's excitement of us in one book. How did I do that? Right next to this book that we had, I had an 8x10 signage of this exact cutout right here. On that station, we had this printout with one of those really nice cards. I got like the thick cardstock from Amazon, and some pens that were around. And I really wanted people to not just write us like a simple note. I feel like most people need a little bit of guidance of like what to say. And so I gave some options. The two that we had here is tell us a moment you knew we were it for each other. I think that's a perfect way to have that kind of memory specifically for an engagement party. And then I also wanted to throw in a fun one, which is what's your wildest predictions for our future together? And the responses that we got from those were really fun as well. Step 3, it says place your card in the photo album. I'm gonna pass through some of the photos in here, and then this is where the notes start coming in. So this is where I left blank spaces in here, and I had reserved some for like my mom and my dad and my sister, because I wanted them to be kind of like the first notes that we see. Sprinkling it in with some photos, some blank spaces, and after the engagement party, my fiance and I were just able to read all of these really wonderful things interspersed with photos and just memories. There are some really sweet things, a lot of amazing perspectives, memories that I might have even forgotten about. And most of them did end up answering that first one, which was what was a moment that you knew we were it for each other. So seeing everybody's thoughts of like a family gathering or how we look at each other across the room before we even knew, like things like that, I can get so emotional about. I actually have a page here that has the cutouts of those things. I'm covering up a QR code here because that's going to bring us into our next topic. On the vision board itself, there is a QR code there. Now, what is that? I went above and beyond here. You don't need to do this at all, but I had created a Canva website, and when Keegan had proposed to me, we were like thinking of ways that we can tell people how that we are engaged, because I didn't want to just like post it on social media and say, hey, we're engaged. I want it to be a lot more intentional and a lot more, these people are very important to me in my life, so I want them to know the news before like the other people on social media know about it. So as many people as we could have, we told them in person, got their reactions, and actually videoed everybody's reactions. If we didn't see them in person, we FaceTimed them. And the way that I had did it is I essentially FaceTimed them and was just like, oh, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to see how you are, and kind of would like put my hand up in my face, itch my face a little bit. It was so great seeing everybody's reactions. I'll see if I could put a clip of it right here. But everyone's reactions were so fun. What I had done is condense every single one of these reactions into a less than 3-minute video. And at the party, right next to that signage of writing the cards, there was also a QR code that says want to see your reactions with an arrow pointing down towards it. And that is where people could scan it and see the video themselves. That QR code and that website is still up, and I have that in my engagement photo book that in the future I can always just scan it and see. We have people's faces, their voices, their handwriting, just access to everybody of who they were at the time that we told them, so that we can look back on it on years to come. Something unique that we did with that, because I always want some kind of game in the background. I don't want it to be like, oh, let's stop the party and like, let's play some games, at least for the engagement party. But I did want an option that if people were interested and maybe weren't socializing and just kind of wanted to roam around the venue that we had, that they had an option to do so and maybe play a little game. So in that reaction video, I actually chose one person to be the faker, as in somebody was faking a reaction in that video. So if people did choose to watch the video all the way through, they could play a game, which is which one of these people are faking it. Now, we didn't end up revealing who the faker is because there was just so much going on. And truthfully, I don't think a lot of people played the game, but a lot of people did watch the video. Wrapped up in this engagement party, this was the weekend before my fiance's birthday, and so I had a little surprise area where I actually brought out a little cake for him, and I did a little speech for him as well, and I'll put a little clip of it here. But it was just so sweet. He had no idea. I had texted his friends and a few family members saying that this is what I was planning to do. Since everybody was gathered in one area, we would just surprise him with a birthday cake and a song. And so that's what we did. He really loved it. I told one of my most favorite stories about him, the beginning times when we were dating. So it was a combination of an engagement speech along with a birthday speech and the type of man that he is. So I think there was a lot of great emotion there. Him and I were both tearing up at some point during the speech, just kind of seeing all of our people, everybody sang him happy birthday. And he got this really incredible video, I'll put it right here as well, of everybody just singing to him. And it was just such a good and great time, and something that I'm going to remember forever, 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 forever. So we went over the guest list, we went over the venue, we went over the invitation, and we went over the vision board. Now, the vision board, we broke it down into different elements and how they were able to come to life, from the outfits to the photo book to the QR code to the coasters. All of these things were made possible because I was able to dump and visualize exactly what I wanted and who I was into this vision board. And as you guys can see, it all came to life. Here are some videos and photos throughout the party. Keegan had done such a smart thing. Without me even knowing, he employed a couple of his friends to just take candid shots throughout the whole entire party. And I am huge on just candid photos. I love it. They're so sneaky. A lot of them are so good. Now that we wrapped up everything and I kind of gave you guys a breakdown of how I was able to make certain things very, very personal and how it was so memorable for me, I want to give you some advice on what I wish that I had done, or I wish that I had considered, if you are looking to do something in a brewery or even outdoors. At the very beginning, once me and my friend had gotten there earlier to set everything up, we got there maybe 30 minutes before the party started. And unfortunately, a lot of the things were not properly set up with the venue that we chose. There was no music, the bar wasn't open. People were kind of running around last minute being like, oh, right, there's a party today. And now that was specifically for our venue, but definitely my advice is showing up like an hour before to your venue to make sure everything is set up, if they allow that. Obviously for ours, they were very friendly towards us, and they gave us this allotted spot, this allotted time space, and they were able to accommodate very well and very quickly, but I was constantly following up with them. So make sure that you're choosing a venue that is very transparent and is very on top of events and planning. I think the venue that we chose was in between an event planner at the time, and it definitely showed. And so the other piece of advice that I'll give you, especially if you are doing something that is outdoors and is on like a second level tier, is to factor in wind and nature. We were lucky enough that we had pretty much a cloudless day. It was very beautiful. They had a canopy overhead for us, so people weren't just sweating and really uncomfortable. The wind was beautiful. However, the easels that we had gotten, the picture frames that we had gotten, fell down a few times before the party started and actually ended up damaging one of the frames. And so taking into account maybe paperweights or weighted easels, something that takes into account wind coming in and potentially knocking things over, the elements, checking the weather, making sure everything is good. But the wind was definitely something that I did not take into as much account as I should have. The third piece of advice is bringing an extra pair of shoes. My shoe broke 5 minutes before the party. It was insane. The top of it just clocked off, And I remember being like, oh my God, I didn't bring an extra heel. I had an extra sandal so that I could change into it afterwards, but I really wanted to be in heels for the event. And luckily, my friend Chriselle was there. She saved the day. Even though she's like a size 6.5 and I'm a size 8, she had sandals. And she's like, I have extra ones in my car. Let me give it to you. So she literally saved me that day. And even though the shoes definitely looked a little funny on certain angles, I still was able to wear some heels and it still looked decent enough. If you are going to be wearing white, definitely bringing some kind of stain stick. I already had one in my purse and I am a very, very clumsy person, so I'm always scared that I'm going to stain it. I actually stained the dress the day before while I was trying to clean it up. Don't ask me how it happened, it just happened. If you already have like a maid of honor or a best woman or whoever it is, definitely have them help you hydrate throughout the day. After that party, I was so dehydrated. I knew that I was going to be talking the whole entire time, but in my head, I didn't factor in just the absence of water. I would go and try to refill as much as possible and drink throughout, but obviously we're all trying to entertain, we're all trying to have a good time. But if I had had somebody there to remind me to either drink some water or eat a little bit of something, that might have been very helpful for me. And my other piece of advice that I forgot to mention is having an assistant, whether that's going to be your future maid of honor, your best friend, your mom, whoever it is. Don't try and take everything on yourself if you don't have to. If you can delegate a couple tasks like picking up the cake or somebody being in charge of bringing the cake and the food and the decorations, whatever small task you need help with, it's okay to ask for it. And if you have good friends, great family, more than likely you have people saying, please let me know how I can help you and I want to help you make this vision come to life. And that is it. That is how I planned my engagement party. It definitely took some time. It took some thoughtfulness, but if you're anything like me and you want to put a little bit more intention and thought behind whatever you're doing, this is the path that really helped me. So as a reminder, go over your guest list, figure out your venue. Vision board, vision board, vision board is so incredibly important, and paying attention to the details when you do send out your invitations. Obviously, this day is all about you and your fiance and your life partner, so make sure that you create elements and pockets of time where you're checking in with each other and that you're overall just having a really good time. Don't put too much stress on it. Don't put too much pressure. At the end of the day, everybody is there just to see and hang out with you. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and watching this video. Let me know down below if it's helped you, and please feel free to use any of these ideas for any celebration that you have in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.